If you have an anxious attachment style, there's a good chance that your self-esteem feels fragile, like it rises and falls based on how someone else is showing up. When they're giving you attention, you feel okay about yourself, but as soon as there's any distance or tension or uncertainty, everything crumbles really quickly and you devolve into this spiraling out, desperate, anxious, needy version of yourself that you then feel really ashamed of. If that's you, fear not, it used to be me as well. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through some really simple but effective tips to build self-esteem as an anxiously attached person so that you can show up to your relationships on a level footing with genuine self-confidence, and so that you're not so prone to being knocked off center by someone else's behavior. Because so much of the work of healing anxious attachment is about building healthy self-esteem and genuine self-worth. It is at the heart of everything that I teach, and I have taught thousands of people who are anxiously attached how to build more security within themselves and their relationships, and this is the work. And I'm honestly not kidding when I say that if you put into practice what I'm going to share in this video, these things will move the needle in your anxious attachment. For those who don't know me, my name's Stephanie Rigg. I'm a relationship coach and host of the On Attachment podcast, which is the world's leading podcast on how attachment shapes the way we live and love. And before we get into it, I just want to share, if you are someone who's struggling with anxious attachment, I have a free training on how to heal anxious attachment, and I'll pop the links in the comments for you. Okay, so let's get into this conversation around how to build self-esteem as an anxiously attached person. Now, I like to think of this in two parts. The first being the things that are harming our self-esteem that we need to stop doing, and then the things that we need to start doing that actively build our self-esteem. And I personally like to start with the things we need to stop doing, because I think of the analogy of like filling a bucket with holes in it. If you start doing all of these great things, that's all well and good, but if you're continuing to do the things that, whether you realize it or not, are really damaging your self-esteem, it's just not going to count for much and you're not going to see the same progress. So let's start with 3 things that you need to stop doing that are harming your self-esteem as an anxiously attached person. Okay, the first one is stop tolerating things that you say you won't tolerate. So this is essentially Boundaries 101, and I have other videos on boundaries that you can go and watch. But one of the quickest and most effective ways to destroy your self-esteem is to fail to stand up for yourself and to really honor what is right for you and what isn't right for you. And so whether you're dating or in a relationship, if you continually say like, this doesn't work for me, I am not going to do this, I'm not available for this, you can't treat me this way, and yet you continue to stick around in the face of whatever the thing is that you say is unacceptable to you, you are showing people how to treat you. You are showing people that actually my words don't mean anything and you can continue to do whatever you want, because all I'm going to do is stomp up and down a bit, but I'm not going to take action to really assert myself, to really take care of myself. And that is both caused by low self-esteem, and it will very reliably erode your self-esteem, because you're essentially giving yourself the message of, I don't matter. My sense of safety and security in a relationship doesn't matter. And I'll continue to accept way less than what I truly want because I don't really believe that I deserve any better. So that is one you absolutely must stop doing if you want to build self-esteem. The next one is stop pursuing one-sided relationships. So if the writing is on the wall, if someone is giving you really mixed signals, if someone is outright saying, I don't want a relationship, or I'm not sure how I feel, or I need time to think, or all of these things that signal I am not all in on this. And in response to that, you tiptoe or you cower or you psychoanalyze. That is so damaging to your self-esteem. It's essentially signaling, if someone doesn't want to be with me, that is no barrier to me pursuing a relationship with them. I'll try and convince them otherwise. And really, what a painful message to send to yourself. I really believe that relationships are hard enough as is, and someone actually putting in the effort, someone wanting to be in the relationship with you, it should go without saying that those things are bare minimum. So continuing to pursue things where the effort is one-sided, the willingness is one-sided, the commitment is one-sided, that is really going to harm your self-esteem, and it's something that you've just got to stop doing if you want to change those patterns for yourself. Okay, the next one is a big one. You need to stop living a life that is out of alignment with your values and your sense of integrity. So this can apply to relationships, but it can also apply to work or other ways that you spend your time. If your day-to-day feels meaningless and hollow and empty, then it's little wonder that you don't really feel good about who you are and the way you live your life. So the more that you can get clear on your values, who am I and who do I want to be? What do I care about? How do I want to show up? And actually start closing the gap between that and how you're living. That is a very, very powerful way to build self-esteem, to build self-worth, because suddenly you start to feel like I'm okay with who I am because I'm showing up in integrity. I'm showing up as someone that I actually like, and I can stand behind the choices that I'm making, the way that I carry myself, because I know that that's aligned with my values. Okay, so now that we've patched the holes in the bucket, let's pivot to what we can start doing to actively build self-worth and self-esteem. Okay, so the first one here is challenge yourself. Now, this could look like a lot of different things, but the crux of it is that capability, really experiencing your own sense of efficacy and achievement and being able to feel proud of yourself is incredibly powerful in building healthy self-esteem. So if you set yourself a goal or a challenge, something that feels edgy and uncomfortable and hard, something where instinctively you go, I couldn't do that, I'm scared, I might fail, do that and actually show up and actually follow through on it and prove to yourself that you can do things that are hard, you can do things that are uncomfortable, you can show up for yourself, you can apply yourself to something and experience the friction of being a beginner, learning and growing, and that you can actually come out the other side bigger and better and stronger as a result. So whether it's hiring a personal trainer and starting up with strength training, or deciding that you're going to run a marathon, or learning a new language, or starting a business, or writing a book, do something that you care about that is hard and scary, and actually show up and follow through on it, and your self-esteem will absolutely flourish as a result. Because when you do that, you can say, I am proud of myself, and that is an incredibly fruitful thing for your inner relationship. Okay, the next one is keep promises to yourself. So if you routinely say things and then don't follow through on them, the whole idea of actions speak louder than words, if your actions are not in alignment with your words, and it sort of circles back to continuing to tolerate things that you say you won't tolerate, it's an expression of the same thing. You really need to make sure that your word has value. And I think so often we say things, whether it's to other people or to ourselves, and we don't even really believe the words when they're coming out of our own mouth. And that is such a reliable way to destroy self-trust. So if you want to build self-esteem, self-trust, self-worth, you need to do what you say you're going to do. You need to keep promises to yourself. You need to hold your own boundaries. You need to honor your own commitments. And that's a really, really effective way to build self-trust, to rewrite that in a relationship so that you know that you are someone that you can count on. And last but not least, ruthlessly prioritize your well-being, your vitality, your sense of feeling good, not in a self-care as a performance kind of way where you're posting pictures of cups of matcha and doing yoga on Instagram, although if that works for you, go for your life. But what I'm talking about here is in a quiet and steady and consistently self-honoring way. So showing up for yourself every day with the guiding principle of how can I support myself today? How can I resource myself today? How can I contribute to my sense of vitality and feeling good and aliveness today? How can I honor my limits and my needs today? How can I nourish myself? What a beautiful way to relate to yourself, and what a beautiful way to build self-esteem, because again, that signals to you, to your body, to your system, to your subconscious that I am something precious that deserves care and support. I am not just going to ignore my body's signals and run myself into the ground. I'm not going to treat myself that way. I am going to treat myself the way I long to be treated by others, and I'm going to let that be the standard that I set for myself and my relationships. When we up-level our baseline, our standards in terms of how we expect to feel, because we take such immaculately good care of ourselves that feeling great, feeling alive, feeling vital, feeling well is our baseline, then that is going to be reflected in our relationships. Because all of a sudden, if something doesn't feel good, if something feels out of alignment, if we suddenly feel plunged into distress or anxiety or dysregulation, that's going to really stand out. Whereas if our baseline is just running ourselves into the ground and burning out and feeling numb, then maybe the shitty dynamics in our relationship are just par for the course. It's just more of what we already know and expect. So when we up-level our baseline in terms of how we take care of ourselves, we set the standard for our relationships as well. Okay guys, I hope that you can see that self-esteem is built through action. Unlike things like self-love, which I'm really not one to preach self-love just because I think that it's too abstract and frankly a little unhelpful for most people who are actually struggling with self-love. I much prefer to talk about things like self-esteem and self-worth because I think that they translate into action in a way that is really tangible and allows us to go, okay, these are shifts that I'm going to implement today. It's not just, sitting on our bed and trying to manifest self-love. It's actually like, okay, Can I audit the way I'm showing up and the way I want to show up? And can I start making those changes today? And what you'll see is that really pays dividends, and that ripples out to your romantic relationships, your friendships. All of it will be transformed when you start to focus on building healthy self-esteem and self-worth. And that is your work as an anxiously attached person, is building your inner relationship.